Hi everybody, I have Mr. Rangaswami, software executive, investor, entrepreneur, software eco-strategy expert, community builder, co-founder of SandHill Group, one of the early angel investor firm in the Bay Area, and the founder of Corporate Eco Forum with us. Welcome, Mr.
Thank you, Samir.
So, Mr., we're going to take a deep dive on sustainability today. And everybody's talking about sustainability engineering, technologies involvement. According to you, is sustainability a new avatar of the green agenda? Do you believe this trend is here to stay for once?
I don't believe sustainability is a fad anymore. Maybe 10, 20 years ago, some people thought they would talk about it, but today it's here to stay, and it's here to stay forever.
So, Mr., you were one of the early people who, co-authored along with C.K. Prahlad and a Harvard article, why sustainability is now the key driver of innovation. Could you share some insights with our viewers over here?
Yeah, CK was a dear friend, and unfortunately, as you know, he passed away. But what he wanted to do was, he believed in it so much, he said, I've got to make this a discussion in boardrooms and C-suites. And that's why we did the HBR article, which was a seminal article, one of the most popular articles in HBR. Recommend people get that and read it today. But what we argued in that article was sustainability and innovation go hand in hand. And that's the only way to move forward, because things have to be less expensive, i.e. cheaper, things have to be better, and things have to be sustainable. And innovation is the only way to move the business model and the product models forward. And that's what we argued there. But one thing to add, fast forward a decade from that article, is that technology will play even an increasing role in this innovation cycle for sustainability.
Perfect. And you talked about technology, and most of the companies are now talking about emerging technology that will help drive the sustainability program. According to you, what's the role of IoT, AI to improve sustainability?
Yeah, like I said, technology is going to play such a big role moving forward. And within that, the specific technologies like IoT. Imagine if every device in this world was connected to the internet. What can we do with it? By not only sensing what's going on at each location, but being able to use artificial intelligence and inference engines and machine learning and all these different technologies available, we can become so much smarter in controlling every element in the world, whether it's a building, the temperature in the building, lights in the building, sending you an autonomous vehicle to pick you up and drop you off. I mean, just street lights, you just can amplify this in every aspect of our life. And so I think IoT is going to be the key enabler, and AI is going to be the application of that technology.
And you talk about application. So let's move on to the software and the information technology part of it. Where does that fit in, and does that have a key role to play?
Yeah, so now imagine once all the entire world is connected, billions of devices are connected and human beings are connected. Imagine what you can do in every aspect of your life. If you're driving home, your air conditioning turns on 5 minutes before you get to your house, right? If you are going to work, certain things are enabled and gets you ready to work. So just imagine in every facet of your life, you're trying to find parking, you find parking. So the use of AI along with IoT can enable literally thousands and thousands of use cases. And so I think over the next decade, you'll see a proliferation of applications and use cases for making the world a much better and more sustainable place.
So, Mr., do you have any advice to the engineers and the developer community when it comes to developing next big tech things to ensure sustainability?
Yeah, I think I'd like to take a step back and just talk about the announcement of the Green Software Foundation that just happened, because I think all developers need to look at this, that Microsoft and others have just started, because the Green Software Foundation has big audacious goals that can only be served if the community accepts it and develops using those standards, using those frameworks, using those APIs and so forth. Because what they envision that they can do is cut down the greenhouse gas emissions by 45%. Okay, this is going to be huge. And so I think looking at standards, developing frameworks, using best practices and techniques can really help developers of software, developers of applications, bring this sustainability lens to anything and everything they do. Let me just give you a small example. Instead of your application making 6 calls to AWS or to Azure, why don't you just make 1 call? Okay, think through things like that instead of going back and forth across the network, across devices. So even starting with simple things like that to more complicated things can all help little by little save 45% within the next 10 or 20 years.
So you obviously talked about the Green Software Foundation. So is cloud clean?
Yeah, that's a good question. You know, this was controversial a few years ago when Greenpeace got into the act and said, cloud is dirty. You know, you're using fossil fuels to develop the energy for data centers and stuff. But they got the attention of all the tech providers, right? All the leading tech providers immediately responded, and they were already responding, but they moved it, let's say, faster to make sure all their data centers used renewable power. It was solar, wind, and using all these kind of power sources. And now I would say that cloud, for the most part, is very much based on renewable energy. And so I think we've pretty much accomplished that goal. Still a little bit more remains, but for the most part, I would be pretty happy with that.
What about the new currency, Bitcoin? Is that clean or dirty?
Well, Bitcoin is a different story, right? Because the mining of Bitcoin requires so much use of energy. And a lot of these mining is done in China, for example. So we really don't even know if things are being done in China, how they're being measured, what kind of power is being used and so forth. And it was good that someone like Elon Musk came in and said, hey, I'm not going to use Bitcoin or take Bitcoin at Tesla if it's going to be dirty Bitcoin. That immediately set people up to say, we're now creating green Bitcoin miners, okay? So I think quickly you'll see the Bitcoin industry, just like cloud became green, Bitcoin is going to be certified to be green, and we can all feel much better for it.
And, and nothing goes without when you say Bitcoin and then you talk about blockchain. What's the role of blockchain over here?
Yeah, I think the secret is in the blockchain technology, right? For example, you can really track products. You can track supply chains. You can make sure products are sustainable. So imagine if you were to go buy a product, can you see 3 green leaves, 2 green leaves, or 1 green leaf next to it before you buy? What kind of power does that give the consumer, right? Or if you're shipping a product, it gives you 3 leaves, 2 leaves, or 1 leaf. And you can maybe choose the one that's the greenest one. You can choose the greenest product. So blockchain can play the enabling role in making sure every consumer product we buy, for example, has a green indicator next to it. Every type of shipping you choose has a green indicator next to it. So I think blockchain is going to be the fundamental building block for making information trusted and information known so you can make purchase decisions.
Thank you so much for your insights, MR. So refreshing and to get a whole ended spectrum from you. Thanks a lot, MR.
You're welcome, Samir.
Till next time, viewers, stay tuned and we'll catch up soon.